Welcome to this explainer. Today we're actually unpacking the blueprint of systemic change in Central Asia, and we're doing it by looking really closely at the career of an elite, top-tier specialist. Central Asia is going through this massive, accelerated economic transformation right now, and navigating that, well, it requires a very specific type of leader. We're going to explore the journey of a true problem solver, someone who doesn't just adapt to emerging markets, but literally rewrites the rules for how they work. Okay, let's dive right into this. 0. That's the exact number of import duties, taxes, and customs payments currently applied to electric vehicles in the Kyrgyz Republic. 0. In a developing economy, a policy like this is an absolute game changer. It doesn't just cut down on urban pollution, right? It fundamentally jumpstarts a brand new local market for green tech, shifting consumer behavior practically overnight. Now, add to that massive environmental milestone something totally different: the implementation of a national biometric election system. We all know traditional voting in developing democracies can sometimes really struggle with massive logistical and security vulnerabilities. But shifting to an immutable biometric system, that changes the very fabric of national trust. We're talking about authoring the foundational analytical report that went directly to the president of the Kyrgyz Republic. That's advising at a level requiring incredibly rare high-stakes trust. And hey, if that wasn't enough, consider the creation and adoption of a national law on dual education. To put it simply, dual education stops that endless cycle of graduates holding these fancy degrees but having absolutely zero practical skills. It places students right on the factory floor or in the corporate office while they learn. It merges theory with immediate real-world application. So looking at these three massive domains, green economy taxation, digital election security, and national education reform, what's the common denominator here?
Well, they were all architected, negotiated, and spearheaded by one individual, Iskender Sharsheev. He is an absolute policy mastermind and really a visionary partner who operates as the ultimate translator. He bridges the gap between rigid government bureaucracy, fast-paced foreign capital, and complex local culture. Over the course of this explainer, we're going to break down the 5 pillars of his professional impact to see exactly how he pulls this off.
Okay, Pillar 1, state-level reforms. Reforming entrenched government institutions requires immense patience and political acumen, so let's quickly see how he navigates this highly complex arena.
The sheer scale of his collaborations here is just incredibly telling. Entities like the European Union and the Asian Development Bank, they don't partner with just anyone. They require a proven ability to execute at scale. For the OSCE, he co-authored Kirk Kadam, or 40 Steps. And this wasn't just some white paper. It was a comprehensive state strategy aimed at unclogging bureaucratic bottlenecks in the state customs service and really supercharging the nation's export competitiveness. It just proves his capacity to construct national economic strategies literally from the ground up.
This deep bureaucratic mastery is especially visible when we look at his digital governance work. As head of the project implementation unit at Infosystema, he didn't just, suggest some digital upgrades. He basically had to tear down old analog walls just to build a new digital highway. This meant drafting precise amendments to 16 distinct legacy legislative acts just to make e-government concepts legally viable. From there, he actually led the design of the national e-visa system and automated border control. He systematically removes bureaucratic friction.
Moving on to Pillar 2, business and investment acceleration. You see, analyzing policy is one thing, but generating actual capital requires a totally different, fast-paced skill set. Now, as the director of the Center for Business Innovation at Peak Bishkek, which is a flagship UK-funded initiative, he directly facilitated $500,000 in startup investments. Now, I know what you might be thinking. To an audience used to huge Silicon Valley numbers, that might seem kind of modest, right? But in an emerging, centralized startup ecosystem, $500,000 goes incredibly far. It represents this massive, foundational injection of seed capital that completely alters the local economic landscape.
And the ripple effect of that capital injection is just profoundly human. By designing and managing 12 separate acceleration programs, he personally trained and mentored over 270 startups. But here's the best part. His leadership supported the creation and retention of more than 900 jobs. That isn't just a metric on a spreadsheet. That's 900 families eating, thriving, and building futures, all thanks to newly stabilized entrepreneurial ventures.
He also really knows how to aggressively advocate for the private sector. By leveraging his policy expertise alongside the Foreign Investors Association, he successfully lobbied to drop the national investment visa threshold from a highly prohibitive 500,000 euros way down to 10 million Kyrgyz soms. That is roughly a fraction of the original cost. This single legislative victory effectively democratized foreign investment, throwing the doors wide open for mid-level global investors rather than just massive megacorporations.
But you know, when a major commercial entity faces a true crisis, academic theory goes right out the window. During his time as finance director at Kyrgyz Concept LLC, which is the largest travel company in the country, he faced a massive organizational emergency. He took immediate control and implemented aggressive corrective measures. We're talking about stopping critical cash bleeds, restructuring organizational debt, and hunting down outstanding receivables to save a sinking ship from the inside out. He is without a doubt a battle-tested crisis manager.
That brings us to Pillar 3, educational innovations. Because let's face it, you can build all the physical infrastructure in the world, but progress stalls immediately without a highly skilled workforce. Working alongside the CUNY Foundation, he actually integrated a standardized international logistics curriculum across 12 different universities in the region. And to really grasp the gravity of this, you have to remember that for landlocked countries in Central Asia, logistics isn't just a business subject, it's literal economic oxygen. By training and certifying over 300 students in supply chain management, he was quite literally helping to open the trade arteries of the nation.
And it goes further. During his extensive work with the Asian Development Bank, he completely modernized the vocational training playbook. He established the legal frameworks for these things called educational production complexes. Put simply, he made it totally legal for trade schools to run their own mini-businesses, sell the goods their students produced, and keep the profits to fund their own educational programs. He basically hardwired real, practical entrepreneurship directly into the academic system. Okay, Pillar 4. Strategic vision and thought leadership. Because, as we know, true leaders don't just execute isolated projects, they define the underlying philosophy of their entire region. He is really an intellectual architect who's authored multiple major socio-political and economic books. Now, rather than just reading off his bibliography here, the core takeaway from all his extensive writing is super clear. He argues that true sovereignty and prosperity in a post-Soviet world come from embracing global market dynamics, while at the same time fiercely protecting and cultivating local national identity. His on-the-ground projects are a direct extension of this deeply researched worldview. And a massive part of that worldview emphasizes a sustainable green economy. So here we really see the narrative come full circle. His philosophical writings and thought leadership on energy efficiency, they aren't just academic musings. They directly manifest in the real world through massive EU-funded sustainability projects and, yep, through those zero-duty electric vehicle policies we talked about at the very beginning of this explainer.
Finally, Pillar 5, your ideal partner. So, what does this unique convergence of high-level skills actually mean for you and your organization's ambitions? Let's take a look. Look, finding an executive who holds dual master's degrees, including earning a prestigious red diploma, while also wielding hard Western management frameworks like project management professional preparation, that is incredibly rare. Add to that his native cultural fluency and absolute command of Kyrgyz, Russian, and English, and you've got a specialist who can comfortably debate policy with a head of state in the morning and then finalize a venture capital term sheet in the afternoon. He is truly a high-class, top-tier professional.
Central Asia is a market of immense untapped potential right now. But to succeed there, you absolutely need a master translator who speaks the distinct languages of state bureaucracy, foreign capital, and local culture. Whether it's driving a startup ecosystem or completely rewriting a national customs strategy, the track record here is crystal clear. So if you're looking for an invaluable partner, are you ready to entrust your next massive project to Iskender Sharsheev? Reach out and collaborate with a proven visionary. Thanks for joining this explainer, and we'll see you next time.